James D. Smith. Dallas Cowboys even with Dez Bryant's release and Jason Witten's retirement, the loss of Travis Frederick last season may have been the most damaging to the Dallas Cowboys. The team looks forward to getting their All-Pro center back in 2019 while also having a reliable backup still under contract. Just within the last few weeks, Frederick has provided encouraging updates on his status for next year. It looks like he'll be able to participate in all off-season activities, but the Cowboys would settle for Week 1. There appears to be plenty of cushion for that to happen. Travis's absence in 2018 was seen in various ways. Dak Prescott was sacked 56 times, second most in all the league, after just 32 and 25 times the previous 2 seasons. Part of that is missing Frederick's blocking ability, but also the way he would assist with reading the defense and making pre-snap adjustments. Dallas would have loved having Frederick out there to help guard Connor Williams, who worked with Travis throughout the offseason only to lose him in late August. It was not an easy way for the rookie to start his career. We also saw issues in the run game. Even while Ezekiel Elliott led the NFL in rushing, short yardage situations weren't as easy as they used to be. The Rams were able to neutralize the Cowboys' rushing attack in Dallas' playoff loss, something that Frederick might have helped overcome. Dallas Cowboys GC Joe Looney. This isn't saying that Joe Looney did a bad job. On the contrary, Looney was more than adequate and helped keep Dallas from suffering far greater damage without Frederick. After Joe's work in 2018, Dallas won't blink at keeping him on the $1 million salary he's due next year. It's a bargain for a backup of his quality, and especially given his versatility as an option at guard as well. Not only are Frederick and Looney locked in for 2019, but Dallas also still has backup Adam Redmond under contract through next season. He was added after final cuts last year to be Looney's backup and should return to at least help the team through July and August. With these guys already in place, there's no reason to think that Dallas will give much attention to the center position during the offseason. At most, a mid-round draft pick might be used on a player who could potentially replace Looney in 2020 as the backup. Joe's contract ends next season, and he could be competitive for starting jobs with other teams at that point. With lots of other concerns throughout the roster, Dallas is fortunate to have so much security at center. All signs are positive on Travis Frederick's return, and that is a huge boost to the team as it looks to push forward from last year's playoff run. 2019 off-season center offensive line. If quarterback is the most important position in football, then the guys who hunt them down might be second. As such, the Dallas Cowboys face a major off-season decision in 2019 when it comes to the free agency of defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence. This will be Lawrence's second year as an unrestricted free agent, with Dallas retaining him last season using the franchise tag. Even though he accepted it in 2018, DeMarcus swore all the way back in that summer that he wouldn't play for the Cowboys in 2019 if franchised again. Despite his sack numbers dropping a bit last season, Tank remains one of the top defensive ends in the NFL. He is a total package of pass rushing and run stopping, and he's now given Dallas 2 straight Pro Bowl seasons. If the Cowboys have any plans to contend for a championship next season, then they can't risk losing a player like Lawrence. We've seen what this defense looks like without a premier pass rusher, and it isn't pretty. Of course, Dallas could try to replace DeMarcus with a different free agent signing. If Jadeveon Clowney or Frank Clark avoid being tagged by their own teams, perhaps the Cowboys can lure one of them over. But don't expect any big difference in compensation between these 3 players. Whether it's Lawrence or one of the other premier pass rushers in free agency, you can expect the Cowboys to make one of them their top off-season priority. The greater mystery is if Dallas will make any other moves to upgrade the position, or stick with what they've got. Dallas Cowboys to Randy Gregory. Dallas finally enjoyed some real production out of Randy Gregory in 2018, whose personal issues nearly derailed the talented pass rusher's career. Gregory posted 6 sacks last season and was starting to look like the Robin to Lawrence's Batman. Also in the mix is 2017 first-round pick Taco Charlton, who took a backward step last year and seemed to be in the coach's doghouse by season's end. Motivation and attitude seem to be an issue for him, and he'll need to step it up this summer if he doesn't want to wind up at the back of the depth chart again. One of last year's fourth-round picks, Dorance Armstrong, also returns. He will hopefully be ready to take on a larger role in his second season and provide another pass-rushing threat, plus insurance in case Gregory suffers any return of past problems. If Dallas doesn't make Tyrone Crawford a salary cap casualty, or chooses to re-sign David Irving, those are 2 other guys who can play some defensive end for you. Despite these options, the Cowboys could still look at adding another mid-grade free agent for depth and insurance. They could hope for a bargain on veterans like Ezekiel Ansah, Vinny Curry, or Chris Long. They might hope that Rod Marinelli could work his magic on first-round flop Dante Fowler. Another guy that Dallas might look at is Benson Mayowa, who was with them from 2016-2017 and is a solid player. He spent the last season in Arizona on a 1-year deal and is still just 27 years old. Don't expect much from the draft, barring a major steal presenting itself. The Cowboys have bigger needs with their limited number of 2019 picks, and they also still need to see how recent selections like Charlton and Armstrong play out. This offseason is all about DeMarcus Lawrence, or at least one of the other marquee free agents at defensive end. Some supplemental moves are possible, but arguably the biggest move Dallas makes the next few months is either retaining or replacing their top pass rusher. The Dallas Cowboys offseason should be approached like a puzzle. You have to know what the picture looks like beforehand before you start grabbing random pieces to try to fit them together. Keeping that in mind, I thought it'd be a good idea if we take a look at the Cowboys' offense and defense to try to determine which one needs the most attention. It may be somewhat surprising, but the Dallas Cowboys pretty much have the entire puzzle almost put together. There is just a few missing pieces they need to add, but for the most part the team that will take the field when the 2019 season kicks off is already in place. There isn't going to be much roster turnover this offseason. Nearly all of the starters will return for the upcoming season on both sides of the ball, meaning the Cowboys are in good shape as far as having the team's nucleus in place. In fact, there might be just 1 or 2 starting positions up for grabs on offense and defense. Let's take a look. Dallas Cowboys offense. Dallas Cowboys OC Kellen Moore. As things stand right now, before any moves are made in free agency or through the draft, the Dallas Cowboys offense may have just 2 starting spots up for grabs. But even that's just a guesstimate because we still don't really know what the future holds for center Travis Frederick, even though all signs point to him making a triumphant return to the starting lineup. The way I see it though, the Cowboys will need to find someone to replace Cole Beasley in the passing game and also add a starting caliber tight end. That's it really as far as the starters are concerned. There is however need for more depth at several positions such as backup running back, offensive tackle, but those aren't necessarily needs. I'd say they're in pretty good shape offensively compared to years past. Dallas Cowboys defense. Dallas Cowboys assistant coach Chris Richards. Surprisingly enough, the Dallas Cowboys really don't have any glaring needs on the defensive side of the ball either. After finishing as one of the top defensive units in 2018, they will have nearly all of their starters returning for the 2019 season. But much like on the offensive side of the ball, there could be 2 starting spots up for grabs. The Cowboys will have to find someone to replace Damian Wilson as the starting strong side linebacker and potentially a new starting strong safety. That's really the only starting positions I believe are up for grabs on defense. But like the offense, they could stand to add more depth and competition throughout the defense, especially along the defensive line. But again, there really isn't a glaring need they absolutely have to address. Verdict: Cowboys offense. Dallas Cowboys QB Dak Prescott. Photo by Tom Pennington, Getty Images. Even though the Dallas Cowboys offense and defense seems to be pretty evenly matched as to how many starting positions are up for grabs, the offense looks to be the one that needs just a little bit more help. The defense proved in 2018 they are someone to be reckoned with, and with the loss of just Damian Wilson, that shouldn't change. The same can't be said about the offense though. If Cole Beasley does indeed leave via free agency, that's a big blow to the passing game. But it's not just him. Other than their rushing attack, the Cowboys' offense was ranked in the bottom half of the league in nearly every other category. With offensive coordinator Scott Linehan now gone, we can hope that improves, but that doesn't mean improving the offense shouldn't be the Cowboys' main off-season focus though. Of course, this is just my opinion and you are more than welcome to agree or disagree with it. But when the free agency and NFL draft ball finally starts rolling, I expect most of the Cowboys' off-season moves to be on the offensive side of the ball. Improving things around quarterback Dak Prescott would seem like the wise thing to do after all, especially since he's about to be paid quite handsomely. Which side of the ball do you think needs more help this off-season? Gary A. Vasquez. USA Today Sports. The Dallas Cowboys have plenty of work to do to restock and refine their roster in the hope of improving of last year's playoff run. We'll be looking at all of the 2019 needs for this offseason in the coming days, and we're going to start with paramount position of quarterback. Unlike most spots on the team, the quarterbacks don't have anyone with an expiring contract this year. Both Dak Prescott and Cooper Rush will be in the final year of their deals, while Mike White still has 3 years left on his rookie contract. Despite this, Prescott's contract is still one of the hottest issues the Cowboys face this offseason. They must decide if they want to go ahead and lock him up now to a long-term extension, or wait and see how Doc performs in his 4th season. It's a real dilemma for Dallas. On the one hand, Prescott already has 2 Pro Bowls, 2 division titles, and all winning seasons on his 3-year resume. However, he's also had ongoing accuracy issues and problems with consistent productivity in an increasingly pass-focused league. Given what he's already accomplished, Doc can command a pretty sizable contract in current negotiations. Just within the week he's already commented on not planning to give the Cowboys a discount in his next deal. If Dallas waits another year, then they risk that price tag going up. They could be competing with the open market, or what if Prescott leads the team to the NFC Championship or beyond in 2019? If Doc's camp is already going to be aggressive in contract negotiations this year, then there's a case to be made for just waiting. Let him play on his bargain $2.14 million cap hit and use the savings to load up on talent for a championship run. The team will still have resources to re-sign Prescott in 2020, or even franchise tag him, if that's their choice. Dallas Cowboys QB Mike White. However that situation goes, we know that Doc is the starter in 2019. But even though Cooper Rush and Mike White are both due to return next season, should the Cowboys be satisfied with that QB depth chart? As I wrote about earlier this week, Dallas has good reason to look at adding a veteran passer to the mix this offseason. If Rush and White beat him out, that's great. But if not, it adds an experienced voice to help Dak Prescott in this critical upcoming year. You can go a few different ways. Some of the projected free agents can match Prescott's mobile style, such as Tyrod Taylor, Trevor Seaman, or Robert Griffin III. Others give you the experience edge, such as Ryan Fitzpatrick, Josh McCown, or Matt Schaub. It doesn't seem likely that the Cowboys would draft another QB after just taking Mike White last year with a 5th-round pick. Unless they are moving to a completely different philosophy, Dallas will likely give White at least another year or 2 to develop as a mid-round selection. Ideally, at least one of White or Cooper Rush will show some growth this year and inspire confidence as the immediate backup. But adding a veteran for competition certainly couldn't hurt, and Dallas has the cap space to do it. Thankfully, everything that Dallas might have to do this offseason at quarterback is optional. They can choose whether or not to redo Prescott's contract, or whether or not to pursue upgrades behind him. There is no gaping hole being created by a potential free agent departure. Cowboys have the power now, but that can quickly change next season once Doc's a free agent. That's why they still have a big decision to make in 2019.